Back in the end zone, all red. What if real niggas was all dead? What if Hillary and them was reptilian? And 2012 was the end of men and all world civilians.
Supposedly, a CNN reporter found Osama bin Laden, took a television camera crew with him, went into Osama bin Laden's hideout, interviewed him and his top leadership, and he came out and told everybody within 3 weeks Osama bin Laden is going to attack the United States and Israel. Now, don't you think that's kind of strange, folks? You see, because the largest intelligence apparatus in the world, with the biggest budget in the history of the world, has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years, and can't find him. Some doofus jerk-off reporter with a camera crew waltzes right into his hideout and interviews him. And I'm telling you, be prepared for a major attack. But it won't be Osama bin Laden. It will be those behind the New World Order. I wonder what Osama bin Laden's targets are supposed to be. And if they don't, you know, if this doesn't materialize in the next 2 or 3 weeks, it will eventually materialize because they haven't succeeded in getting the guns out of the hands of the American people, nor have they succeeded in taking our freedoms away. And so I can tell you with a certainty, they must do something terrible in order to stop this backlash and regain the sympathy of the mass herds of sheeple out there.
Apache County Sheriff's deputy is in the hospital after being shot in the head by a so-called militia member.
Now, what we know is that that militia member is dead. Our Gary Harper has the very latest on what's going on with that story. Gary?
Marty, Scott, this all happened in a little town called Eager, Arizona, which is just on the eastern side of the state of Arizona. It's almost on the border of New Mexico. This is what we know so far. Sheriff's deputies, we understand, were trying to serve some type of arrest warrant on a man by the name of William Cooper. He's also known as Bill Cooper. He reportedly has been known to be hostile towards law enforcement, so sheriff's deputies apparently disguised themselves as a bunch of rowdy teenagers in the back of a pickup truck in hopes of luring Cooper out, and it apparently worked. However, when Cooper realized what was happening, he reportedly pulled a gun and shot a 40-year-old deputy in the head. During the gunfight, Cooper himself was shot and he was killed. Now, this is what we know about Bill Cooper. Officials say he belongs to some kind of militia movement and has published several anti-establishment articles. He has a website, we understand, and on that website he acknowledges that there is an arrest warrant for him, but he writes, and we're quoting here, any attempt by any federal government agent or anyone else to execute the unlawful arrest warrants will be met with armed resistance. Any person who attempts to kidnap our children will be shot upon discovery, and that is apparently what happened earlier this morning. Sometime after midnight, Cooper reportedly pulling a gun and shooting a 40-year-old Apache County Sheriff's deputy in the head. That Sheriff's deputy, we understand, has been flown to Phoenix, where he is in a hospital. We are trying to get his condition right now. We do not know exactly what his condition is, and we understand that the militia member, in this case Bill Cooper, was shot to death. We do have a crew en route to Eager, Arizona, and we'll have a lot more coming up on tonight's news. All right.
This was an extremely serious event, not just because Bill had been shot, but what precipitated this? How did this happen? Was this no one knew the answer. So immediately we got on the internet and we started searching, downloading news articles from Arizona, trying to find out. I got on the phone, was calling the Hour of the Time phone line, which of course was busy most of the time, and then I would leave a message when I could, please call me back, not understanding all of the chaos that Doyle was involved with that day as well.
Can't trust the papers, as Bill would say. In fact, within the first sentence of the first article that was written about this in the Arizona Republican, the word militia appears. The name Timothy McVeigh appears. This kind of irresponsible journalism, unfortunately, was something Bill had to fight off for, as he would say, years and years and years and years and years. Bill was not a member of a militia, but he believed very strongly in the Second Amendment, and he did a program on how to form your own militia and do it legally.
After Bill was killed, virtually every newspaper article that you would see on Bill, or any report on television or on radio, always mentioned Timothy McVeigh, and that Timothy McVeigh and William Cooper were connected. And Bill was portrayed as an extreme right-wing lunatic that was encouraging the activities of Timothy McVeigh. While in fact Timothy McVeigh did listen to William Cooper and in fact visited him, came up to Bill's Hill to visit him, Bill told him to get lost.
Michael Brescia, who is John Doe number 2, the spitting image of the drawings that they put out, wearing the exact same cap that was worn by the man in the drawings that they put out, with the same tattoo on his left arm, stood in front of me for 10 minutes and talked to me in the company of Timothy McVeigh. And Tim McVeigh was not the leader. Tim McVeigh probably didn't say more than 25 or 30 words during the entire time. Michael Brescia did all of the talking, and the last thing he said before they left in their green Mercury Marquis station wagon with a puke yellow interior was, "Watch Oklahoma City." If anyone was in charge, at least on that day, it was Michael Brescia, John Doe number 2, not ever Timothy McVeigh. They told us during that conversation that they were setting out on a mission to make things better in this country, and that they had the approval of the United States Army, who had implanted them with computer chips, had given them their blessings, and knew exactly where they were and what they were doing all the time.
Bill was left to lie there in the front yard. Non-lethal devices are the supposed norm in the country and this state. It's supposedly stressed and was verified in newspaper articles afterwards, not even pertaining to Bill's case, just informational articles out of the Arizona Republic. No such device was used, nets, stun guns, anything, all the fancy foams and rubber bullets, none of that. The Apache County coroner, to declare Bill dead and deny him, obviously, medical treatment if he's dead, happened to be Dr. Scott Hamlin. He was not called, theoretically, because he'd be a conflict of interest, which he would be, but I can't believe they use such wise judgment now all of a sudden. So Navajo County had to be called to clear the next county over. And obviously woken up, you know, all this stuff. So there's a huge time frame here. But Bill received no medical treatment. The sheriff's deputies took it in their own hands, and the paramedics, that he did not need to be treated. He was just gone for good, and that's all there was to it. DPS is wrapping up their all-day-long site investigation. Bill's body has been out there all day, so who knows how it was tampered with. Cameras, nobody was allowed up there. You couldn't get within it to get camera views. Even the helicopters were shunned off, so they couldn't get views of the body. So there's no way to ever tell if it was moved 100 times maybe before the ambulance picked it up. It was then taken to Tucson Forensics Lab for an autopsy.
Those of you who are smart enough to know what is transpiring here know that these are historic broadcasts, and by making these broadcasts, I have sealed my fate.